here at the Blue Bayou restaurant here in the French Quarter area of Disneyland Park. It's very dark in here, but it actually overlooks Pirates. So if you can, if you ask, you might be able to wait and get a table over by the water, which would be really cool. But overall, it's a pretty nice area. It's a setting of kind of being in the bayou of New Orleans or Louisiana, really. So there is a bread service here. They didn't say what it is, but it comes with butter. And the butter is whipped. It's not bad. Butter has a little bit of salt in it, which is nice. And the bread is light and fluffy.
For my entree, I got the jambalaya. It comes with shrimp, andouille sausage, and chicken sausage. It's a little bit spicy, but that's kind of to be expected coming from a traditional jambalaya. However, it's pretty good. Shrimp and sausage are cooked really well. Rice is cooked well. Only thing I would have to say is that I think it's a little bit pricey for this dish. Other than that, it's pretty good.
For my entree here at Blue Bayou, I have got the bone-in pork chop. It comes with a cherry barbecue sauce on top and then mashed potatoes on the side. And it's actually really good. Pork chop is nice and tender. It's not actually too dry. It's still very moist, which is great. Not what I would have expected. Not that I would have expected it to be bad, but it's good. We just finished eating here at the Blue Bayou restaurant at Disneyland. And I think out of every place that we've eaten so far, this place was the most underwhelming.
It was a little bit. I think it gets a lot of hype because it has the Pirates ride kind of going through it. And the theming is pretty cool, like being that you're like in a bayou. But
I think it was like really, I think this was the first place that I can say that it was way overpriced for the food that you got.
It was a little bit.
So Taylor ordered jambalaya and I ordered the pork chop. We ended up switching because she wanted to eat the pork chop. The pork chop I think was like 40 bucks.
No, I think the pork chop and the jambalaya were both like 36.
But I think that they were, the pork chop I can understand as being a little bit more expensive, but the jambalaya was definitely not worth the price that it was served at. I think it's probably closer to like a $20 range dish.
Yeah.
In the low 20s probably. But I mean, that is like, that's part of the atmosphere though, is being in there. You're kind of in a bayou. You're overlooking Pirates if you are able to sit next to the water.
Yeah. And that's like almost what I was thinking. Like you pay a premium at a character breakfast so that you get to meet the characters. And I feel like you're almost paying a little bit more to eat at Blue Bayou because of the theming and that it's right here.
Yeah.
You know, Pirates goes through it.
The only thing is that if you're not sitting right by the water, you're not really going to see the boats. It's so dark in there.
It is very dark. They actually have lights on the menus so that you can see because the lighting is so dim in there.
Yeah. But I mean, the food was still okay. It wasn't bad. You know, the pork chop was
really good.
I think the jambalaya was really spicy. It actually, I think, is it's kind of like making me a little bit like upset with like my stomach. I don't think it's bad food. I just think it's just so spicy. I'm not used to eating that much spice.
Yeah, it was a little spicy, but the pork chop was really good.
Fantastic.
It was nice and juicy, and the cherry barbecue sauce
was good.
Was delicious. I think that was probably the best thing on the plate. Like, typically I don't like my food to touch, so I didn't want that sauce touching my mashed potatoes. However, I tried the sauce with the mashed potatoes and it was delicious. Yeah. So that sauce literally just went with everything on the plate. It was so good.
So I think when we come back, at some point, I think this is definitely a restaurant that we could skip and not come back to. It wasn't like, didn't have like a very good wow factor. And again, I think it's just, it's too expensive for the food that you're getting.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I was like really excited for it. And not that I was like let down, but it just wasn't as exciting as I had anticipated. Still a good restaurant to try out if you're coming to Disneyland for the first time and you really want to be like on the water by the Pirates of the Caribbean attraction. And this is like a classic Disney restaurant, so let us know, have you ever dined at the Blue Bayou restaurant here at Disneyland?